The lawyer cleared his throat. My brother straightened his Tom Ford tie. My sister checked her Cartier watch. They'd already planned how to spend it. The mahogany conference table gleamed. Leather folders sat in front of each of us. Mine was thrift store. Theirs were designer. Dad had been gone 3 days. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. Before we begin, I want to confirm. This will was updated 14 months ago and is uncontestable under state law. My brother smirked. My sister nodded like she'd expected that. Why were they smiling when they hadn't visited him once in 2 years? As to the role of executor and primary beneficiary, my brother leaned forward. So did my sister. Then the lawyer said my name, twice. The smirk died. I had the documents in my bag. I hadn't planned to need them, but I was glad I'd kept everything. Drop a comment. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Hit subscribe. You'll want to see how this ends. The lawyer opened the folder. My brother winked at my sister. They had no idea. I was always the scapegoat. Wrong degree, wrong job, wrong partner. Thanksgiving 2019, my brother bragged about his VP promotion while I served pie. My sister posted influencer content from the table and never asked how Dad was doing. When Dad got his diagnosis, they were building careers. I was working remote customer support. The oncologist's office was sterile and cold. Dad reached for my hand. Will you help me through this? No one else was in the room. I moved into his guest room 2 weeks later. 18 months. Pill organizers labeled in my handwriting. Notebooks tracking every symptom. 3 a.m. emergency room visits. Alone in the waiting room under fluorescent lights. I learned wound care from YouTube. I learned medication schedules from trial and error. Dad noticed. You're the only one who stayed. I brushed it off. That's what family does. I kept a binder. Hospital badges clipped to every page. Pharmacy printouts. Scan results. I didn't know why then. Habit, maybe. I'm glad I did. My brother visited twice. My sister came once with a photographer for her wellness brand. They both left before dinner. Once, my brother asked, is Dad still, himself? He never came back to hear the answer. The hospice kept visitor logs. My name filled 4 pages. Theirs appeared twice. 3 days after the funeral, the lawyer called. My brother had already emailed him, twice. The subject line said, expedited liquidity. The morning of the reading, they met me in the lobby. My brother did the double kiss thing, like we were friends. So we were thinking, list the house by next week, right? Market's hot. My sister jumped in. We'll split everything evenly, obviously. She paused. Maybe weighted by age? I'm the eldest, technically. I stayed quiet. They thought I agreed. Oh, and the Rolex, the cufflinks, I'll take those. Dad would have wanted me to have them. Dad never owned a Rolex. He wore an Omega, the one he bought himself after his first book deal. My sister waved her hand. You can keep the furniture. The photo albums, whatever, we don't have space. She smiled like she was doing me a favor. They were already spending it. They hadn't even heard the will. In the elevator, my brother refreshed his brokerage app. My sister fixed her lipstick in the mirrored wall. I watched the floor numbers climb. The lawyer stood when we entered. His face was unreadable. My sister said, let's make this quick. I have a flight at 4. She didn't say where. She didn't say why. Just that her time was worth more than this. The lawyer gestured to the chairs. We sat. He opened the file. And that's when everything shifted. The lawyer began reading. The estate was bigger than I'd expected. $1.2 million in securities. Primary residence valued at $850,000. Estimated annual royalties of $60,000. Vehicles, collectibles, and a secondary property. My brother and sister sat up straighter. A secondary property? Nobody knew about that. My stomach dropped. I didn't do it for money. But God, I was tired. I was broke. I'd given up 2 years. The lawyer's voice stayed formal. Almost cold. Your father was very deliberate. He revised this document 4 times. Long pause. I thought he's building up to the split. Maybe I get the books. Maybe a savings bond. My sister tapped her nails on the table, impatient. I closed my eyes. I was ready for the wound, ready to hear that even after everything, I wasn't enough. That blood mattered more than showing up. The lawyer turned the page. I held my breath. Then he said my name. I designate protagonist's name as executor of this estate, with full authority over all distributions, sales, and fiduciary decisions. Silence. My brother blinked. My sister said, "Wait, what?" The lawyer slid a notarized document across the table. County clerk stamp in the corner. 2 witness signatures, dated 14 months ago. I was in charge. My hands shook. As executor, protagonist will oversee the entire probate process. My brother's voice cracked. That's okay, fine, but we still split it 3 ways, right? The lawyer didn't answer. He just moved to the next page. My sister leaned forward. Why would he pick her? No offense, but I'm the one with the MBA. The lawyer's tone didn't change. Your father's language is explicit. He cited trustworthiness, presence, and intimate knowledge of my wishes. My brother's face went red. This doesn't mean... The lawyer held up one hand. Let me continue. I wasn't ready for what came next. My brother stood up. This is insane. Dad wasn't in his right mind at the end. I kept my voice quiet. He was lucid until the last week. My sister's voice rose. You probably wrote this yourself. Coached him. He was on morphine. The lawyer cut in. Mr. Last Name underwent a capacity evaluation by an independent psychiatrist before signing. It's attached to the will. My brother pulled out his phone. I'm calling Harvey. His lawyer friend from the firm. My sister turned to me. You've always been jealous. Always. This is sick. I felt my resolve harden. They weren't grieving. They were calculating. The lawyer's voice stayed calm. I should mention, your father included a no-contest clause. Any challenge deemed baseless results in complete forfeiture of all bequests. My brother didn't look up from his phone. We'll take our chances. My sister crossed her arms. We're not letting this stand. The lawyer looked at me. Do you want me to finish reading? I nodded, all of it. The lawyer pulled out a stapled report. Dr. Patel's cognitive evaluation. Mini mental state exam score, 29 out of 30. No evidence of impairment. He slid it across the table. My brother didn't even look. Next document. Your father also drafted this affidavit, voluntarily, witnessed by 2 non-family members. The lawyer read aloud. I am of sound mind. I expect my decision will be questioned. It shouldn't be. I know exactly what I'm doing and why. My sister's voice cracked. He was angry. We were busy. The lawyer held up one more document. Facility access logs, printed last week per executor request. I'd asked for these, just in case. He read the summary page. 6-month period. Protagonist, 287 entries. Brother, 3. Sister, 2. The numbers landed like stones. My sister's face went white. My brother stared at the table. The lawyer turned the final page. My phone buzzed. A text from my cousin. Saw your brother's Insta story last month. He was in Monaco? Pieces clicked. 6 months ago, my brother had asked me a strange question. Hey, if someone needed a short-term loan against a future asset? I'd said I didn't know. My sister's sudden friendliness around month 4 of Dad's illness. Just checking in. How's everything? She never asked about Dad, only about estate planning. The lawyer had said something earlier. Your father was aware of your siblings' financial positions. Dad had done his homework. He'd pulled reports. Or just listened when they called asking for money. Always vague. Always urgent. They didn't come because they couldn't face him. Not out of grief. Out of shame. And greed. My brother's luxury car downstairs. Leased, definitely. My sister's diamond ring. Cubic zirconia if you looked close. The performance of wealth. Hollow all the way down. I looked at the lawyer. Finish it. I made a decision in that moment. Let the will speak. No argument. No defense. No pleading. Just the truth. Read aloud. My brother tried to interrupt. We don't need to hear... I kept my voice steady. Yes, you do, my sister pushed back. This is a family matter. We can discuss it privately. It was a family matter. When Dad needed family, you weren't there. The lawyer looked at me. Shall I proceed? Every word. I wasn't angry anymore. I was done. I reached into my bag and placed the binder on the table. The one with the logs, the photos, the receipts. I didn't open it. Just let it sit there. My brother's eyes flicked to it. He knew he was beaten. The lawyer cleared his throat. As to the distribution of assets, the lawyer's voice was firm. I devise, bequeath, and grant the entirety of my estate, real and personal, to protagonist's name. My brother slammed his hand on the table. No, absolutely not, the lawyer continued. Your brother and sister are each bequeathed $1, pursuant to statute, to demonstrate intent. My sister's voice broke. You can't do this. It's done. Executed 14 months ago. The lawyer pulled out an envelope. Cream paper, Dad's handwriting on the front. Your father left this letter for today. He asked that I read it aloud if the will was contested. My brother stood. Don't, the lawyer read anyway. To my children. I was not surprised by who showed up. His voice was calm, measured. Love is not obligation. But neither is inheritance. My sister started crying. Brother's name? You called 4 times in 2 years. 3 were about money. Sister's name, you visited twice. Both times with a camera crew. My throat tightened. Protagonist's name, asked for nothing and gave everything. That is why this decision is easy. I hadn't expected this. The lawyer read the final line. I hope you understand someday, but I don't require it. I require only that my wishes be honored. Silence filled the room. My sister's tears were real now. Grief, maybe, or shame. The lawyer folded the letter. You have 120 days to contest under state law. I'll tell you now, you'll lose, and you'll forfeit the nominal bequest. My brother left without a word. My sister looked at me once. I don't know what she wanted to see. Then she followed him out. The door closed. I sat alone with the lawyer. He slid the envelope across the table. He wanted you to keep this. I took it. My hands were steady now. 6 weeks later, the motion to contest was dismissed. The judge's note said, frivolous and without merit. My lawyer asked if I wanted to invoke the forfeiture clause. No, let them keep the $1. There was nothing left to say. My brother sent one email. You turned him against us. I didn't reply. My sister's Instagram went dark for 4 months. When it came back, there were no mentions of family. No grief posts. Just product codes. I spent a weekend at the lake house. The one I didn't know existed. I found Dad's fishing tackle in the shed. His annotated first editions on the shelf. A photo of the 2 of us from hospice. A nurse must have taken it. I looked happy, so did he. I used part of the estate to establish a scholarship. $25,000 a year for family caregivers pursuing nursing degrees. The first recipient was a single dad who'd cared for his mother through Alzheimer's. He cried when I called him. I spent $15,000 on therapy. I talked through the guilt. Should I have called them more? Begged them to visit? My therapist said, you can't make people care. You can only control your own integrity. I kept the Omega watch. I wear it on hard days. Dad's notebook was in a drawer at the lake house. I finally opened it. The last entry was dated 4 days before he died. If you're reading this, I'm gone. I'm not sad. You gave me peace at the end. That's worth more than anything I'm leaving you. You are enough. You are enough. I closed the notebook. And I finally exhaled. Inheritance isn't about money. It's about who shows up when there's nothing to gain. Question for you. Have you ever been the only one who stayed? What did it teach you? Drop your story below. And if this one meant something to you, subscribe. More true stories every week. I don't talk to my brother or sister anymore. Maybe someday. But I don't need their understanding. I have Dad's and my own. That's enough. This story is a fictionalized dramatization and is not legal or financial advice.